What's up, everyone? Adam Trigger here. It is Saturday morning. It's time for On the Clock. It's our new daily college basketball show. We're going to cover 5 games, 5 different topics, and we're going to do it with 90 seconds each. So when you hear that buzzer, we're moving on, and we're going to get right into it because there's a huge slate of games today. And we're going to start with, it's a full day of marquee matchups, so it's hard to pick just one. But we're going to start with UConn and Gonzaga. I think that this is truly the marquee event of the day, Madison Square Garden. And, even if you give UConn a little bit of a home court edge here, which I think you should because the Garden is basically Stores West, it's going to be all UConn fans. I'm still coming up with Gonzaga as a significant favorite in this game. I love Gonzaga in this mid-December window because of how they schedule. So essentially, Gonzaga plays their schedule backward. They've been doing this for years. They play in the WCC where they're not going to get those high-profile games in January and February. So Gonzaga just loads up and plays them all in November and December. If it's what they've had to do to keep themselves on that national power level. And so really, their 7-2 right now is insanely impressive. That's 7-2 with wins over Baylor, Indiana, Arizona State, San Diego State. Even destroying teams like UMass Lowell and Davidson. Those are good teams in their respective conferences. And the Kentucky loss was in overtime after being up by 16. This is a Gonzaga team that's scoring 90 points per game and hasn't even shot the 3-ball well yet. So, UConn, I don't like to bet against Dan Hurley and that great coaching staff, but I do think these are the types of matchups where you're going to see it show that UConn doesn't have quite the roster that they had last year. This is still a neutral floor. I've still got Gonzaga as a sizable favorite here. I make them -6. So, all right, timer's going off. I make them -6. I lean toward Gonzaga in this one. This might be something that even makes my card. I think they beat UConn in MSG tonight. Okay, we are moving on. Timer's already started. We're going to total of the day. Yesterday, we hit this by the skin of our teeth, and today we're going to go with another mid-major total, Appalachian State and High Point. I was down at High Point last week. Got to see High Point play North Texas, and I felt like I was watching the same team play. It really felt like North Texas and High Point were trying to do the exact same thing. As we know with North Texas, they want to play super slow and limit the number of possessions. I think High Point's doing that. My buddy Corby, who you've seen on probably a million college basketball shows, great college basketball handicapper, pointed out that Duke Miles was sort of the guy that drove all of the tempo for High Point last year. He's now at Oklahoma. And when you take him out of the mix, they really are playing much slower than they did last year. Evan Maya's got their true tempo ranked 274, and App State comes in at 320. So you're not going to get many possessions in this game. Something that I really was apparent when I was at the High Point North Texas game last Friday, the refs called everything. They literally called every foul in that game. People were getting annoyed. The High Point side was getting annoyed. There was an egregious number of free throws shot in that game that put it over the total. This is a neutral site in Greensboro, so neither team are going to be in their home gym here. 138 seems high, so I will go with another under again. I like the under in High Point, Appalachian State. For some reason, the buzzer goes off twice. I've got to figure that out. We're going to get a better buzzer. I want to get like a shot clock or something. We're going to get a better buzzer, to do this with. But the point is, we're keeping it to 90 seconds. We're cruising along, and now we're going to the boots on the ground portion of today's, which is somewhere that I've been. And so today it's kind of a marquee matchup, boots on the ground combo, because Marquette and Dayton is definitely one of the high profile games today. And I've been to Dayton. That was an awesome venue. Still one of my top 5. I think I've been to 52 or 53 different ones now. Dayton's in my top 5. UD Arena, phenomenal place, insane atmosphere. One of the locals told me that the Saturday games go a little bit harder than the Friday night ones because everyone's not at work trying to get to the game. And that's what we've got tonight, Saturday night. They're hosting Marquette. So right off the top, I give Dayton full marks for home court. It's one of the best atmospheres I've seen a basketball game in so far. And I gotta be honest. I think I was wrong about Dayton. I came in, if you watch my Dayton preview that I did prior to the season, I kind of wanted to fade this team. I had no clue how they could possibly replace Deron Holmes, but they've been able to do it. Top 15 offense and a really good defense. Even without him, I thought the three-point shooting might fall off because they didn't have the same floor spacing. They're 30th in the country in three-point shooting. They don't turn the ball over. Zed Key is no Deron Holmes, but he's been really good for them. And, Posh Alexander's a guy that comes off the bench, gives them a change of pace, or can come off the bench. Like, you can put him in any scenario. He'll give you a change of pace. The team is deep. They haven't really, they've got 8 or 9 guys that they can play, and they can do different things. Anthony Grant's a phenomenal coach. You got to wonder. You got to wonder if Anthony Grant doesn't get that NCAA tournament canceled in 2020, what that Dayton team could have done and where he's at as a head coach. I love Dayton. I wonder if they'll be wearing their chapel blue is what they call this. They wear them for the big home games sometimes. And this is a big home game. I don't dislike Marquette, but this is Dayton, a pick on their home floor. Marquette's coming off a big win. I lean toward the Flyers, getting it done at home. All right, we're cruising right along here. We're going to move into the viewer's choice pick. I'm usually going to put a poll up for this on the Wager Talk site, but today we're just going to use a fan request. So Sean Carson, shout out to Sean. He asked yesterday about Wichita State and DePaul, and so I decided to use this as the fan request game. This is 1:00 in Chicago, so a home game for DePaul here. One of the things Sean said was, the Roundhouse in Wichita, awesome venue, insane atmosphere, and I agree with that. I haven't been there yet, but I will get there. But that is a place that I like to back Wichita. We don't have that here, of course. Wichita heading on the road to Chicago. Early tip, probably not going to have much of an atmosphere, but, I got to be honest. I'm a believer in what Chris Holtman is doing for DePaul. And that's not to shade Wichita in any way. I think both of these teams have been, very good, certainly better. Like they're projecting well. I think Wichita could hang around in their conference, which is a little bit down this year, in my opinion. But DePaul, they lose back-to-back games after their 7-0 start. Absolutely no problem in losing to Texas Tech. That's not a bad loss by any means. But earlier this week, a lot of those DePaul guys, I believe, were battling illness. I think the flu bug was going through their locker room, and they still went to overtime with Providence. And really what was a game that they probably should have won. Led late, ended up in overtime. Tough loss there. So now DePaul comes in off back-to-back losses, and I think this is a good spot for them to bounce back and get a win on their home floor. Like I said, I'm just a believer in what Chris Holtman is doing this year. He's got DePaul top 100 in offense and defense. He's building this program quicker than I think anyone could have expected. And I think they're going to be able to slow Wichita State down just enough to sort of control this game. I'm not going to give out a bet on DePaul here because I don't really want to lay the 3.5, though I do make the number closer to 6 in that game. So that'll segue into the parlay of the day. Yesterday's one. Nebraska, Colorado, Northern Illinois got it done yesterday, right around even money. And so can't forget to start the timer here, although we're making good time today. We're making good time. We're going to come in right around 10 minutes. Parlay of the day today, let's use DePaul money line, about -145, -150. And I'm going to pair them with UMass Lowell, who I think is has a great chance to dethrone Vermont in the America East this year and win that conference. I think they trash Dartmouth today. We'll just ask them to win here. And then let's use Florida. Florida's got Arizona State on a neutral floor today in Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't have much of a handicap for the spread in that game, which is like -9. But I do think it's very possible Florida is an elite basketball team this year. they've really impressed me. And I just don't see Arizona State coming across the country on a neutral floor and beating them in Atlanta, Georgia today. So let's use this. That actually comes out to like plus 150. That's a great money line parlay, in my opinion. So we'll go DePaul money line, UMass Lowell money line, Florida Gators money line, comes out about plus 150, and see if we can hit another one of those today. And wow, I even finished that before the timer went off, or I pushed the wrong button on my phone. One of the two. But either way, we're in right around the 10-minute mark. Hope everyone has a great Saturday. Head over to my page, wt.buzz/AT, for the full card. I've got a bunch of plays that I like today, and make sure you're following us on social media, Adam Trigger WT on all platforms. Like and subscribe to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. I should have said that earlier, forgot to, but I'm not redoing the whole show. So hope everyone has a great weekend. Give us a follow, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow, definitely Monday, for more On the Clock college basketball daily show. See you guys soon.